2 stories, and then we'll go through a process with this. When I met Immaculée, she was in the Rwanda genocide, and she walked through where they were taking machetes and killing, and she looked directly at it, and she said these people that were coming at her with machetes when she had to go from the French camp to the renegade camp. And so they were still killing people with, this was still happening. And she looked them in the eye, and she said, I love you, I forgive you. And she said she doesn't know what happened. She described it. She goes, she doesn't know what happened. She didn't know how. But somehow, they couldn't touch her with the machetes. So, I think it's very comforting for our mind to believe in black and white. I think it's very strongly taught religiously that to fight the enemy, to fight the negativity. There's huge, very popular speakers, Joyce Meyer, who I actually kind of like. I love listening to her. I love listening to Joel Osteen, but they say fight the evil, fight the bad. Again, I think it's very scary to the mind to say, to really be fully present and show up for the fullness, the wholeness of life as it is, and to know that as we embrace life as it is, we're able to see something beyond that. When we accept what is, we see the beauty and perfection that is contained in that moment. And that beauty and perfection is within your own eyes. However, we can't give to another that we haven't realized within our own being. So if I have this little nugget of something here, grief, anger, sadness, a limiting belief attached to it, and I haven't been able to love it, and then I'm being presented something like non-duality, it sounds insane to me. Ram Dass talked about, look at the suffering within the world and see the harmony in it. So, to see the harmony in your own suffering. Okay.
That's a stretch.
Okay, are you willing?
I don't know.
Okay, so that's a no. It's a no.
It's hard.
It costs you more to resist it, to not see the harmony. However, the mind's convinced you that to see it costs you less to yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a working process. I guess it really is. It's just always working.
So there is a voice I sense in you that says, this bullshit should not be the way it is. This should not be this way. Life should not be happening this way. Fuck this. Needs to be fixed fucking now. Mm-hmm. Did I get it?
Yeah.
I had that once too.
And there's a part of us that says, if I accept this, it's happening, I'm going to be eaten alive by it. And the very thing that I think is, if I accept it's going to eat me alive, it will eat me alive if I don't accept it. Right? So there is a value of really saying, and maybe it's something we do, you and I one-on-one, but we can do it right now. Say, okay, that voice is there. I am in. This is also what the voice is saying. This is where I'm at. Letting the barn fully burn.
It's really hard.
And too often when the barn is burnt and there's all these pieces, we're trying to take the pieces and put them back together to create it, rather than something, that next expansion of ourselves to emerge.
The duality.
Yeah, the duality, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We don't grieve fully. We don't let ourselves fully grieve. We don't let ourselves fully fall apart. We don't let ourselves fully feel. We kind of feel 80%. We grieve 80%. And then what happens is literally pieces of ourself are still fragmented, waiting for our love. That's why this work could also be called, in Jungian terms, soul retrieval or retrieving pieces of herself. And it's part of the work that I do with people in life coaching. Or you could also call it, I like to call it different names to kind of demystify it, but it's really just loving all parts of ourselves. Or in shamanic terms, reclaiming pieces of ourselves. Whatever, it's the same word for the same thing. So bringing that, letting yourself fully experience what you're experiencing. With the awareness, though, that we're not here to fix it. We're not here to analyze it. We're not, that's a big difference. That is such a huge difference. When you have somebody that's with you that doesn't believe your story, that doesn't believe that you're broken, that doesn't believe that this thing that you're sharing is so horrible. You know, it is very, and this is oversimplifying it, but, and way oversimplifying, but gets the point. It's like going to somebody that, if they believe it's hopeless, they'll never find love, and you go to a life coach or a therapist that believes it's hopeless, probably not going to be able to hold that.
Yeah. So it's just that duality, just kind of bringing it in some sort of harmony, let it live within and
keep on breathing. Keep on breathing.
Yeah,
You're
and
there.
just let it coexist together.
Yeah.
Don't
Because what
fight.
happens? What happens when you love this? You let the barn fully burn. What happens is then you can hold space for another person just by being yourself. That's being a healer to the world. That's being a tuning fork of love. In fact, my opinion is, and again, I may get shit for this later on, is someone who hasn't loved their darkness and then is trying to be a healer to another is not really a healer or a leader. They're just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. They're doing, you know, Western medicine, psychology, you know, so it's just, you know, it doesn't make sense to me that whatever modality you bring forward, whether it be psychology or yoga or you're an accountant, that everyone can be a leader. Everyone can be a healer by doing this. Everyone is a leader or a healer by doing this work. But it's vibrational. So people have no clue what they say when they say, be the change you seek to be in the world.
I used to have this saying, I would say, name it, claim it, and dump it. It's like denying yourself the right to live in that duality. You know, it's like, fuck it, it's gone. You know, just chop it off, you know, and throw it away. That's kind of my little mantra in the past, has been name it, claim it, and dump it. And sometimes you shouldn't just dump it if you're talking about duality. Am I right?
Yes, you got it. Because then that piece is kind of there, and it will, whatever you've dumped is going to recreate your past into your future.
Right.
And then you can't trust yourself because you're saying, why am I doing this thing? Because anything, when we bring our darkness to the front of us, it has less power to influence our actions and our behavior. When we try to tuck it away or dump it, then it does unconsciously affect our behaviors, our actions, and our thoughts. Like, I was going to say that and I lost my train of thought. Brene Brown talked about how people that admitted they get influenced by commercials were the ones who actually got influenced less. So I ask you again, and your truth may have changed and maybe remain the same. Are you willing to see the harmony in the suffering?
Yeah, I mean, I want to. It's needed.
Okay. Now as you say that, what have you noticed has changed now?
I just found myself going like this. A little bit more, it was like
Yeah.
this. Now I'm like this.
Yes.
It's a little bit more
Something
relaxed.
you just went, your
Yeah.
energy just went.
Yeah. Physically, I felt a change. I shifted inside
Yes, you
of
did.
me.
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry for that.
No, you just helped the entire group. What do you mean sorry? Everyone's just like, thank you. Like you just helped hundreds of people.
But it's, yeah.
Your self-love helps hundreds of people.
It's my truth.
Like when I have pieces of darkness that come up in me, I think, wow, if I can love this, man, who else can I love? Or what else is being affected? The animals, the planet, the factory farm, the oceans, the children. You know, like that's being affected by my self-love.